The following video is to show you how to use Stage Pro in Image Pro Plus to acquire a series of Z-stacked images and extended depth of focus for counting and sizing particles. I double left click on Image Pro Plus icon, which will open the window for Image Pro. I then click on the camera icon, which brings up the camera window, and if I hit preview, it allows me to see a live window of what's in the microscope. I can move a sample into position. I can then, using the focusing knob on the left and right side of the joystick, focus the image. Once I've done this, and if I want to adjust light level, I can highlight this and make it lighter, or I could do calculate exposure, which looks at the whole image. But once I've set this up, I'm going to stop the preview and close this. If I hit acquire and go to Stage Pro, it's basically going to need to initialize the stage, so you have to make sure there's nothing in the way when the objectives or when the stage is going to move. It's going to go to its limits. I'm going to ask it to go to its physical limits, and then it will go back to its central position. It's going to move. It's moving to the lower right part of the stage now, which you cannot see. It reached that. It's now going to the upper left part of the stage, and then once it finishes, it will go to the central portion of the stage, at which point in time I'm going to call up the camera window again to make sure I can put an object in the field that in your case will show the particles that have reasonable separation. It's moving back to the central position now. Once that stops, I'm going to call up, for now it's going to, alright, so I'm going to now go to a preview window of what's in my microscope, and looking through the eyepieces, I'm going to go to a lower power objective so I can find my object, which I moved into the field. Go back to the 20x, which I have now, and I'm moving an object into the field of view. Once I've done this, depending on your particle size, and I'm focusing the image, you want to effectively set up the appropriate lens to see the particles of a reasonable size. If you click on lens, if I close the preview window and then go to lens magnification, you can select from a pull-down menu what we would need. But in this case, I'm going to keep the 20x objective. I'm going to then go to my stage pattern. I'm going to make sure I have only one frame and one frame, because this way I can acquire one image and then move the stage, acquire a second image, and continue that until I have the number of fields you need to count your particles. If I hit the acquire button, I'm going to look at my Z limits for this objective, and I'm suggesting I want to go 200 microns up and 200 microns below with 20 slices. If I go to the live preview window and I step up, you can see how each of the slices is created, and I'm going down, and I'm going to go back up, and I'm going to bring this into focus. Once I've done this, I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to close my preview window. If I hit acquire now, what's going to happen, it's going to show a live window of the image, and it's now going to start acquiring the 20 slices. I'm going to let that finish. When it finishes the 20 slices, you'll see down at the bottom left that it is acquiring these images. It's going to show you the composite extended depth of focus image. And there's the image we just took. So that's our first image. If I go to a live preview again, I can now move to another location, and I have another field of view, which again I can focus using the focus knob. I'm going to close this, and now I'm going to acquire a second image. Again, here's the live image. finishing the 20 slices. Once this finishes, and I repeat this as many times as you want to acquire the particle images, and then in the next video we'll show you how to count size those. I don't have any particle samples, so I'm not doing that at this time. But now, if you can see, I'll close this window and I'll go to Windows and Tile Images. We now have 2 images that we can process and count size. I'm going to end the recording, and the next video will be